Hi, Jennifer Warren here, and I want to talk about some of the news of the last 2 weeks to do with AI, digital infrastructure, i.e., data centers, and power supply. So, about 2 weeks ago, a week before the inauguration, OpenAI sort of came out with their economic blueprint for, how to build out AI of the future and used the thematic as well about the United States reindustrialization that's occurring, which I have written about in the last couple of years. Um, and so then the day of the inauguration or shortly thereafter, Trump announced the $500 billion investment, backed by OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. And they also noted one of the first data centers that is in Texas. Since then, the other big news, and so it was a real big play on America's dominance in the AI area and sort of staking that claim for the future and doing the build out that goes with it. Since then, on October 25th, there was an article in Wired about DeepSeek. And then it really caught wind on the 27th. And there are many, many articles. And what DeepSeek was is the China's AI LLM model, basically, that rivals ChatGPT and all the other big tech LLMs. And it also sort of tanked the market that day because everybody got concerned that the AI hype was really more infallible than people thought. Since then, the markets have bounced back, and a lot of commentary and insight has come forth, basically saying, well, this is just another model, and that there's room for more. And there's a lot of implications to all that to do with the tech. But what is most notable in my wheelhouse is the announcement today by Chevron, GE, Vernova, and Engine Number One. So basically, Chevron has come out with this new organization that they call their New Energies Organization. And it will have 4 gigawatts of power that they expect to be in service by the end of 2027. And basically, what they're saying is, they're going to leverage the United States natural gas supply, for which we are abundant, and they're going to use the GE natural gas turbines. There are 7 US made turbines. And just to note, gas turbines has been a backlog for them. And I've heard figures anywhere from 3 to 5 years of a backlog. So they're basically saying, we have these gas turbines that we are going to use, and they're going to build, power facilities that will be co-located with data centers. Therefore, they will not be on the grid. They will not require transmission. And specifically, these data centers are to be co-located in the Southeast, Midwest, and West regions. Note, that is not Texas. And they're also saying that, there could be lower carbon solutions integrated. And so they see this as a, idea which aligns with all of the expected growth in AI and, the data centers that go along with it. And I think it's really timely because, as we know, there are absolute obstructions to do with renewables and nuclear to support all the data center growth that is expected. And just some numbers that I've heard just to give some context surrounding this 4 gigawatts. Um, I heard my most recent and credible numbers are that the estimate of 15 to 60 gigawatts of new power will be needed for data centers. And I believe this goes up to 2030. And a past number is that there would be an increase needed of 24 BCFs per day of natural gas demand. And just a little update to that, I read on one of Energy Transfer's earnings calls recently that there's in fact like 17 BCF per day in its own sphere of influence that they have been sort of, talked to about. So that's a significant amount potentially. The other notable numbers that I've managed to cull is that Dominion, who's up in the Northeast, has said that they have 5 gigawatts of power contracted for data centers that is between 2023 and 24, and that there was 40 gigawatts requested between 2020 and 2024. So that just kind of gives you an idea of some of the amount of power that's going to be needed. So what I find most significant about this announcement is that, of course, the timing is right. And one could say, oh, and this has been sort of the refrain, that there are all these bottlenecks with power generation to support the growth of AI and all of the infrastructure that's going to be required. And, there have been like years of obstructions to do with supply chains, transmission, and all these things, which is why there's been more discussion by big tech to do behind the meter type projects. And they've been, trying to secure wind and solar and nuclear as they can. But what is most significant about this is like really one of the first instances of a larger scale gas play to do with digital infrastructure. So basically, it's supporting the idea that there will be this growth in the United States. So not only have we heard that there is this expected growth in AI and that generative AI models are advancing and evolving, and firms like Microsoft are making money from AI, but also that now you have big energy connected to this. And so they have put their weight behind this. And I think this is a significant advance, sort of beyond what we've been talking about with the energy transition, because there is an energy reality alongside the transition. And the reality is that we need natural gas and we have a lot of it. And so that really, really, sort of supports one of my theses that I had talked about last June at an investor summit, and I've talked about it, many times in investor presentations, that natural gas is going to have to be utilized to meet this demand growth going forward. And I wrote about that in the story, The Long Runway for New Demand, New Energy Demand. So anyway, so hats off about this announcement. Cheers.